out there. Guys like Pavelski, of course, guys like Sandstorm, like Maiden Experience, man. We saw some insane Gauntlet play from them. And of course, I'm adding Neeze into that conversation as well. And we're getting into game one here. Top 32 qualifier, winner's side. And I'm almost rooting for Neeze here because he's playing a bald man.
Neeze on the Wushang, something that I think neither you or me predicted. Again, he was locked in on the screen, but Neeze indeed going to be on the Gauntlets as we were hyping up. Phazon on the Val. I mean, can it get any better than this?
And we're starting it off with a Gauntlet v Gauntlet brawl between these two players. Okay, Phazon gets the turnaround. A little too far away to find that down air, but now he's swapping over onto the sword. There's the D-Light into the dare, into the side air. Neeze overstuck on the edge. Beautiful spiking down air, and that's first stock going to Phazon. He only has like 50 damage. Polly, is Phazon back?
Is Phazon back? I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. That's a pretty good knockout at the beginning of the game, though. I do have to give it to him. Going for a super massive commitment off the top as well. Neeze able to get that side signature on the landing though. Goes for the end yet again. Massive call out. Not able to connect it though. Neeze is in a flow state, but like he's not flowing.
Okay, and Phazon is. You saw him putting a lot of pressure over off stage. He does get hit with the Gauntlet Neutral Light. Not really a KO option anymore after it got that major nerf. Gauntlet players were mauling after that one. There's the side light. Okay, he immediately went for the signature read rather than like back up into the side light, into the D light, into the recovery once the dodge came out from Phazon. So he went with the read, wasn't rewarded right away, but then cleaned up the stock right after. Does have to be careful. He's getting past 100 damage here. GC D light into the neutral air, and there's the D light side air from Phazon sending over to the edge.
Yeah, Phazon finding a lot of grounded potential right here now on the sword. Going for the N-Sig, but Neeze ready right there with a nair of his own. So far, neutral interactions have been leaning in Phazon's favor. You were talking about the crazy factor on Neeze. I think he might have to start, tapping into that if he wants to win this game, because Phazon, he's just too dominant in the neutral.
I want to know whether he has it on Spear or not. I'm not saying that he doesn't, but it's just I'm more used to seeing it on the Gauntlets, which he has in his hands right now. He's still been going for these sidelight read options after that rather than waiting. He's been going for all the different options, sidelight into the recovery, sidelight into the GC, sidelight the other direction, all of the flowchart options there. He's finding these dares. He has Phazon and KO damage. He needs to find this KO before Phazon's able to add too much damage. Last time it happened, again, he's going for these signature options, which are playing Wushang. That's not crazy whatsoever, but we haven't really seen the recoveries coming out too much. It's been a lot of signatures.
Phazon playing absolutely phenomenal right now, able to pick up several end lights in a row, going for that D-Light, not able to connect it just yet. Neeze with that Spear Sair, he's able to pick up that knockout. What I'm thinking right now is, could that be too little too late? Neeze, you're already all the way down in red. He has the gauntlets in hand. We haven't seen a Neeze pop off just yet. Who is popping off? It's Phazon. Neeze able to pick up a dodge though.
Now Phazon just like basically has to hit a gauntlet recovery. I don't know if it'll KO in this. Okay, could go with the side signature as well. Side air to set up the off stage. It looked like Neeze's hands were off the keyboard because he knew the writing was on the wall, and game one goes to Phazon. One moment that we did see was we saw a D-Light come out from Neeze, and then we saw Phazon try and punish it with a sword D-Light. But of course, because you're that spear player, you're not going to touch down by the time your recovery frames are over. You can still jump out of that while you're still in the air, so he was able to get over that D-Light. Now, Phazon was in that moment looking for the KO punish. That's why he went for the D-Light option rather than like, oh, I'm going to throw out a neutral light and add up a little more damage that doesn't really mean much. Or the side light that, there's a little more damage but doesn't really mean much.
Yeah, Neeze, I am looking at who's going to be selecting. It is going to be that Wushang yet again. Now, Phazon, as you mentioned, the gauntlets were clean. What I was really looking at was that sword, because his neutral on the sword, he was finding so many attacks in quick succession. He was unstoppable on that sword. Neeze, though, able to pick a ground pound off stage already. So far, it's a fairly even start, though.
They're both starting off again, the Gauntlet v Gauntlets. Last time, Phazon was the one to get the better of it. They are even so far. The spear gameplay, it was good from Neeze, but again, he's not going for the standard, like, I'm going to go for the side light, then wait to see where you dodge, and then maybe go for the side light, D-light, side air. He's really going for these follow-up options, like a signature, out of the neutral light. So his spear gameplay is somewhat unorthodox. There's the neutral light punish instead of the D-light because he knows how aerial Neeze is at that moment, and it didn't make the connection before. I thought we might see the recovery there, but Phazon recovers low, and Neeze gets the KO right when that hurt box from Phazon peeks over the corner.
So many times where I'm like, Phazon, that was a free D-light, he goes for that end-light instead, and I think you might be onto something with doing that because of how aerial Neeze is, and it's been working out super well so far. Neeze has the stock advantage, and this is not a position where you want Neeze to be, and he's already starting to kind of pop off on these gauntlets.
Yeah, he's finding like 2 hits, 3 hits, then there's a little break in between, then he finds 2 hits, 3 hits, again, has weapon control here. Phazon's done a great job of outspacing so many of the spear options from Neeze. It feels like Phazon is just so adept at that specific matchup.
Phazon should have had a pretty simple knockout onto Neeze there. Neeze is able to pick up 1 or 2 more attacks before Phazon does finally manage to find that, able to get that sword as well, just the last couple of frames before Neeze was able to take it. And this is a fairly strong spot for Neeze here. He can already start looking for something to knock out. Great anti-air from Phazon, and Phazon is on some kind of train right now. He keeps getting more and more damage.
So one thing I think Phazon needs to do is when Neeze has the spear, he needs to find a more potent punish option. Okay, and he gets the ground pound there. But
Phazon might be back.
When that neutral signature comes out from Neeze's spear, or when a D-light comes out from Neeze's spear, Phazon needs to find a better punish. Better than the neutral light, better than the D-light that may or may not whiff, usually has been whiffing. I'm not sure if you have sword in your hand, if the neutral sig will have enough like lateral movement to get over there. See if Neeze can finish this one up. And the nice down air to clean it up. We have an even game Polymonto.
Managed to even it up indeed. Still on these gauntlets, able to pick up a dare, able to pick up the Sarah as well. Almost got that read, and Neeze now already, he got that advantage. He pushes it as far as he possibly can. Almost wanted to commit to that offstage as well, finding so many connected attacks right now. Phazon, he can barely recover from what's going on at the moment.
There's the sidelight. Oh, he finally gets that follow-up after it. He hit the neutral air into the GC sidelight, into the recovery, finishes this one up, and Neeze is going to tie up this set against Phazon. It's going to be 1-1 between these two players.
Tying it up. Neeze showing at the end some of that gauntlet magic that you and me are all about. And I was going to say by the end of last game, I wanted to see Neeze change that legend. I still don't know if I believe in this spear coming out from Neeze. What do you think?
I'm definitely not feeling it yet. If we look at the damage difference, like it's been pretty good. We have 370 coming out from the gauntlets compared to the 201 from spear, so he is finding some damage with it, but I feel like he just lacks the standard spear fundamentals. That right there, that is some spear fundamentals. That's what we see from a lot of the best spear players in the world, that it seemed like Neeze was a gauntlet player who just happened to pick a spear legend rather than someone who really knows the ins and outs of that weapon.
Yeah, and especially, you know, if you've been playing a legend like Gauntlets for so long, the movement that you have are kind of going to be based around that weapon that you are most comfortable with. And, you know, Spear and Gauntlets, they're fairly different weapons. Neeze, though, able to pick up a ground pound off the edge, almost getting an early knockout.
He's starting to use the Nair a little bit more. That's, of course, a very safe move that a lot of Gauntlet or a lot of Spear players use. When they're in the air, they'll just throw that one out. You don't have to be super precise with it. Your timing. Oh, he went for the sidelight into the recovery off the top. Gets the recovery anyway later on for the KO. First stock yet again going over to Neeze. He's really starting to figure out how Phazon is moving, and we're starting to really see those Neeze gauntlets pop off.
Able to find that either way, and he has a gentle lead now as Phazon, he goes for that dare, needed to jump just one extra time to be able to connect that. Jump there off stage, super strong option, but Phazon is going to go back onto the stage and get the knockout with the Sair instead. Now Neeze in the weapon disadvantage, able to pick up those gauntlets. And he's been crisp on these reads so far, and even when he misses the reads like right there, he's able to bounce back and he finds that next attack straight away.
The sword is starting to struggle. That was the weapon that Phazon was doing so well with. That was great spacing, though. But the sword is starting to struggle, especially against the gauntlets, but not against the spear. We're seeing a little bit of that spear weakness coming out from Neeze. I don't know if this is going to make Phazon maybe think about swapping over to the Hattori that we've seen in the past, because his gauntlets are starting to struggle a little bit as well against Neeze. Neeze is absolutely winning the gauntlet game against both of Phazon's weapons. Nice.
It's on the gauntlets right now, but it could be going down any moment. Phazon, neutral signature, so close. Not going to be connecting though. Oh, the GC sidelight, so close. Phazon seeing the recovery, going for it immediately. Super good option, but Neeze with a charged up D-Sig is going to be able to pick up the next stock. 2 against 1. Neeze is so close.
And Neeze actually goes over. He wants to juggle one more time and goes over to the spear. There is a weapon spawn. He's going to snake that one away. There's the D-Light into the gravity cancel neutral heavy. This means Neeze's next weapon is going to be the spear. If he finally gets one, Phazon now moving over onto the gauntlets. Neeze is going to shark around until the weapon spawn comes in. Phazon got the hit away. He didn't immediately go for that spawn. You're seeing the spear in Neeze's hands. There's the neutral light. He doesn't immediately go for the signature after, like he was doing previously. We're seeing the spear gameplay change in front of our eyes from Neeze.
Phazon and Neeze, so many close encounters, and Neeze, he keeps going. I mean, that was kind of a prey N-Sig that we saw come out there. Not going to be connecting. Phazon now patrolling the ground with these gauntlets. Almost just barely got that sidelight. With no dodge, Phazon would have been done for. He gets it this second time around though, able to string up that Sair. Phazon keeps coming back onto the stage. Side signature, Neeze so close to finding it, but Phazon somehow comes back up. Neeze yet again.
Phazon without the weapon, he's going to be looking for it, or he's looking for those kind of safe recovery KO options. Phazon is behind in damage, and he's being very careful to immediately aggress onto Phazon. The neutral light, not what it used to be. He's going to have to find at least one more of those if he wants the KO. He's looking for that nair as well. Oh, he's looking for the recovery. He wants this so bad.
Oh, Phazon!
Phazon really went deep with this one. Neeze turns it around, gets the side air for the KO. Neeze now up 2-1 in this set. And I want to point out the precision of Neeze's gauntlets versus Phazon's gauntlets. And it was this one specific moment that I think shows it really well. It's because Phazon has great gauntlets. I think Neeze's are just a little bit better. They both essentially did the same thing. They both did a neutral air, but then the follow-up after was where things changed. Phazon did a neutral air, went for a gravity cancel neutral light. There was too much damage on Neeze for that GC in light to make a connection. He was too far away after the bounce. But then Neeze, right after that, reached up with the nair and then did a side air right after. That gave him the extra distance because he knew how much damage precisely was on Phazon's stock. It gave him the movement he needed to make a connection that Phazon didn't see when he went for the GC in light.
That last Sair that Phazon threw out though, that was just
bold.
barely dodged. I'm gonna see that when I close my eyes for the next couple of weeks. But we are moving into this next game, and that match point now, 2-1 on the scoreboard, and Neeze already getting to work off stage. Phazon wanted to answer to it. Rampart comes out, and that is a good lead already for Neeze.
Phazon tried to get a little bit cheeky with it, thinking that Neeze was immediately going to go back over to the wall so he could turn around and hit the ground pound to get the KO there, or at least set up the edge guard situation. Neeze, his gauntlets are really firing up here against Phazon.
Trying to patrol the ground, able to get some anti-air. Sair comes out, neutral light comes out. Phazon taking control, taking stage control for just a moment, but Neeze always comes back.
Ooh, does he get the D-Light punish on the landing? Neeze using the range. Little bounce pass to himself, into the side light, into the neutral air. I'm really loving the adaptation that we're seeing from Neeze. He's looking more like a spear player now than he has throughout this entire set, despite playing. What are they doing on the edge? This is Neeze being Neeze, and this is Phazon wanting to go along with it.
Able to get back up, both of them though. Neeze looking for this knockout, gets that unarmed Sair out. Quick little bait with the weapon throw, but Phazon able to connect that neutral signature. I mean, we've been seeing a lot of neutral signature usage coming out from Phazon. Not a lot of it has been actually connecting.
That's partially due to the nerfs. Of course, it definitely has a lot less force on it, so we immediately saw Val players really start to move away from it once it caught that major nerf way back when. That might have been earlier this year. I can't remember exactly when it was in the Brawlhalla timeline, but Phazon, he's going to have to find something. He's going down really low. Neeze doesn't immediately go over to it. He did before because he was so red on his first stock, and he had a massive lead on Phazon. Losing his stock here, though, is much more devastating because he can just find the GCD light into the recovery, and now he has a full stock lead on Phazon.
He's now just one knockout away from advancing through the bracket. Phazon is right now just scraping for any kind of hits that he can get. He's on the sword. The sword has been working so well for him, but Neeze is not allowing Phazon to get any kind of grounded attack. The aerial gameplay, that's what it's all about for Phazon, but Neeze, as soon as he picks up that advantage, he pushes it, and he pushes it hard.
That side stick from Phazon was a Hail Mary. It could have been huge. It could have at least set up a great edge guard situation, but the read didn't happen to make that connection. There's the GC Enlight. Neeze has a lot of damage on him. He's really in KO damage. I don't know if a D-Light recovery would KO. I imagine it would, but again, he's only hitting these Enlights, and even that is almost sending off the screen on the right side. Went for the spiking down air. The follow-up from Neeze, and he's pushing over to the edge. Again, he has the stock to work with. He's so damaged, and he could take out Phazon, giving him a 2-stock.
He does have that extra wiggle room. He's going to be picking up the gauntlets. He knows he doesn't have to stress. He can look for the perfect opportunity. Quick little, both players on our knees going to be picking up that spear though. Phazon with the D-Light into nothing. I'm not sure what's going on. Phazon is able to pick up that knockout though.
I think he didn't expect that D-Light to hit because it gives you so much stun time that you can easily find a follow-up after, which would send Neeze further away, giving him the free weapon. So I think he just didn't expect that D-Light to hit because it was like the max range of it. Phazon, he does have Neeze on his final stock, but Phazon is so damaged. It's going to be... Oh, he goes for the D-Light into the side sig. Neeze trying to get a little cheeky with it there. Maybe with the signature read, the weapon toss goes down. He goes back to the stage.
Phazon keeps racking up the damage. Neeze can't find the knockout, but he gets the Seer. And Neeze is going to be advancing through the bracket. 3-1 on the scoreboard, representing EU even further into the bracket.
That is a qualification into top 32 on the winner's side for Neeze, coming all the way from Sweden. You see him looking at the crowd with a smile, but the run is not over for Phazon just yet. Of course, that was a winner's qualifier match, so Phazon is going to go down. He's going to wait for the winner of SAC versus Sprite to see who will make it through.